Hello everyone. In this video, you're going to learn another new way of solving quadratic equations. Now there are 3 or 4 ways of solving quadratic equations. That's one is by using the direct formula of quadratic equations, and another one is by graphing, another one is by factoring, and the other one is by completing the square. So you are going to learn in this video how to complete the square and solve a quadratic equation. So to get started with, first let's see how do we complete a square. Now what does this mean to complete a square? Already we know about perfect square trinomials, isn't it? So a perfect square trinomial is a quadratic form of an equation where one of the value of c is going to be in a perfect square number. So to complete a square, we are simply going to use a small bit of math here. That is, just you need to follow this equation, which is b divided by 2 whole square. Okay, now you might remember what is b. B is the component of b in a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx. So this b is what we are referring to. Let me quickly clarify that with a small example. So for example, if you would have a question like x square, okay, let me just, okay, it's x square plus 14x, and you have to complete the square now. That's the value of c, in fact. So if you are completing a square, what you need to do is simply follow this: b divided by 2 whole square. So here the value of b is 14. So 14 divided by 2 whole square. Now 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 square is going to give you a 49. So the missing number here, that's the square number, is a 49. That's all. Now you just need to find the factors of 49, which would give you a 14, and then just factorize them. This is first how you complete a square. Now sometimes you might come across numbers like this, which are like 7, maybe, for example, say x squared plus 7x. Then you need to complete the number here. Right? Now what you do is take 7, because that's the value of b, divided by 2 over 2. Now we know very well 7 divided by 2 would give us a decimal number, that's 3.5. Now in such cases where you would divide and then you might get a decimal number, we just leave the answer in this normal form. That's 7 square is 49. 2 square is 4. So here, to complete the square, we are going to write it as 49 over 4. Now this case is only when we cannot divide these two numbers and get a whole number. Rather, you get a decimal. So whenever you are getting a decimal, you just open this up. That's 7 square is 49, 2 square is 4, and just write it in place of the square number. That's all. Right. Now, first let's get started with this. That's to complete the square to form a perfect square trinomial. I'll show you one how to do. The remaining ones you will pause the video, you will do, and then you will check your answers. So as I said already, just you're going to use b divided by 2 whole square. So here the value of b is 4. So 4 divided by 2 whole square, which would mean 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 square is going to give you a 4. So the missing number here is 4. This is how you complete a perfect square trinomial. Wasn't that easy? Now for the next one, do not forget this negative signs, because here negative b is negative 16. So what happens here is it's going to be negative 16 divided by 2 square. Now negative 16 divided by 2, yes, will give you a negative 8. But the square of any negative number is a positive number. So it becomes 64. So 8 square is 64. What does this mean? Negative 8 square means negative 8 multiplied by negative 8, which would eventually give you a positive 64. So the missing number here is 64. Right? Now here, again, 7 is the B number. So 7 divided by 2 whole square. 7 divided by 2, now this is the same example which I was taking and explaining here. So 7 divided by 2 is a 3.5. Now yes, we can of course find 3.5 square, but that would still lead to further decimals, which would make it a bit complicated when we are finding the factors. So in these cases, what we do is we simply rewrite this in the normal form. That's going to be 49 over 4. 7 square is 49. 2 square is 4. So the missing number here is 49 over 4. This is how you complete a perfect square trinomial. Rather, this is how you complete squares. Right. Now, keeping the same idea, let's move ahead and say how can we solve some quadratic equations using this concept. Right. Now, x squared plus 6x equals negative 8. You can see now you can use this perfect square method to solve any equation which is in this form. So to get started with, first we need to complete the C, which means this question is in fact in this form now. X squared plus 6x plus some number equals negative 8 plus some number, which means the number which we are going to write here, we are going to add the same number to the other side of the equation as well. So first, just like how we completed this part, we are going to complete this number now. So what's the first step you're going to do? First, of course, you're going to use b divided by 2. So in this case, b is a 6. 6 divided by 2 whole square, which would give you a 9, right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 square is 9. So add 9 to this side of the equation as well as to the other side of the equation as well. You cannot only add 9 here, you need to add 9 to both the sides. Now simplify this equation. If you would simplify, you would get x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 1. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1. Right. Now the next is you have to find the factors of 9, which would give you a 3 when added or subtracted. So the factors of 9 are 1, 9, right? And then 3, 3. Now from the lesson name, that's completing a square, a perfect square trinomial, we know that the factors are going to be 3 and 3, which means you're going to say x plus 3 equals 1. Right? Now x plus 3 can also be written as x plus 3 whole square, which means the same, x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 3 equals 1. We are going to remove the square sign after this. So to remove the square sign, what you're going to do is you're going to give it to the 1. So we usually write it in this form, plus or minus 1, root of 1. Now to solve, the first step of solving is move the 3 to the other side, because we are going to find the values of x. So of course, you cannot keep a number with x, you have to move it to the other side. It becomes a negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 1, or rather 1, because in the next step, you can solve it. What's the square root of 1? Square root of 1 is 1. So one of the solutions for x is negative 3 plus 1, which is going to give you a negative 2. Or another solution is x is equal to negative 3 negative 1, which is going to give you a negative 4 as the solution. So x is equal to 2 or x is equal to 4. It's easy, but as I always say, it only comes with practice. Just by looking at a question, nothing you will learn. If you want to, you can pause the video here, do the question again by yourself, and then check where you're going wrong, and then you can just keep repeating that until you get the perfect answer. Yes, in the beginning, it will be difficult, but once you know the method, you have cracked the method, it becomes easier. For the next one, first let's complete the square. So how is this question in fact is x squared plus 4x plus some number which we are going to find out, 12 plus some number which we are going to, the same number which we are going to find. So first you have to do b divided by 2, right? So b divided by 2 is going to give you, I'll do that here, 4 divided by 2 whole square means 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 square is 4. So you add 4 to this side of the equation as well as to this side of the equation. Next is simplify in the sense solve the other part of the equation. So that's going to give you 12 plus 4 is 16. Now find the factors of 4, which would give you a 4 when added or subtracted. So what are the factors of 4 we have? We have 1, 4, right? The factors of 4 are 1, 4, 2, 2. So which one are we going to choose? Of course, we're going to choose this because 2 plus 2 would give us a 4. 1 plus 4 would not give us a 5. So x plus 2 equals 16, which this can be rewritten as x plus 2 whole square equals 16. We need to remove the square sign. So what we are going to do is we are going to write plus or minus the square root of 16. Now the next step is move the 2 to the other side so that it would become x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the root of 16 is a 4. So one solution is going to be x is equal to negative 2 plus 4, which is a 2, or another one is x is equal to negative 2 negative 4, which is going to be equal to negative 6. So x is 2 or x is equal to negative 6. Let's try to do the next question. Now the next question has a negative sign here, right? So which means your form here is going to be minus instead of plus. Here it's plus, here it's plus, but here it's minus. So first rewrite the question in the form which it has to be. So if you would rewrite it, it's going to be x squared minus 2x minus some number, rather plus some number equals 15 plus some number, because we are adding, we never subtract square numbers. I mean the one which we find, we are going to add them in, we are not going to subtract it. Okay, now the next one is the value of b is negative 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 whole square. So negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. Negative 1 square, which is 1, negative 1 multiplied by negative 1 is going to give you, of course, a 1. So add 1 to both sides. Next step, simplify it. X square minus 2x plus 1 equals 16. Find this factors of 1, which would give you a 2. So the factors of 1 are 1, 1. But then we need to arrange them in such a way to get a negative 2, which means negative 1, negative 1 would give you a negative 2. So it's going to be x minus 1 equals 16, or x minus 1 whole square equals 16. Then to remove the square root, what do? X minus 1 equals plus or minus the root of 16. Move the 1 to the other side, so x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 16 is a 4. So one of the solutions for x is going to be 1 plus 4, and another solution is going to be 1 minus 4. 1 plus 4 is 5, 1 minus 4 is a negative 3. So the two solutions of x are 5 and negative 3. Wasn't that easy? As again I'm telling you, practice is what will make you perfect here, not just looking to a question or looking into a video. No, that's not going to help you. Videos are just for you to grab the idea of how to solve it, but if you solve it by yourself, you will learn how to solve the question. Okay, now this was all about solving this question. Let me take you to another part where you have these kinds of questions here. Now, yes, there's a difference between this here and this one, right? This is x squared plus 6x equals minus 8, but here x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. Now, this is in the perfect quadratic form, but when you're using completing the square method to solve quadratic equations, the first and foremost thing you have to do is rewrite this equation in that form. So to rewrite this equation in that form, I'm just going to move the x to the other side. So it becomes x squared minus 8x equals negative 13. Right? Now it is in the same form as we solve these questions. Same way you're going to follow. That's all. So first let's complete the square. So to complete the square, you know that you have to have some number here. We're going to add some numbers. But before that, to find the number, you have to do b divided by 2. So b is negative 8 divided by 2 square, which means negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 square is a 16. So you're going to add 16 to both sides of the equation, right? Okay. So the next one, find the factors of 16, which would give you a negative 8. So what are the factors of 16? We have 116, we have 2, 8, and we have 4, 4. Now, which factors would give me a negative 8? Of course, 4 and 4. I have to arrange 4 and 4 in such a way to get a negative 8. Now, 4 minus 4 would give me a 0. No. How about negative 4, negative 4? Yes, that would give you a negative 8. So, which means it's going to be x minus 4, x minus 4. So, x minus 4, x minus 4 equals 3. because negative 13 plus 16 is going to give you 3. Now I did I did not solve like everything step by step here as I did. Rather, I factorized this here and also I solved this and wrote here. Now the next one is, you can rewrite this as x minus 4 whole square equals 3. To remove the square root, a square sign, we have to do x minus 4 equals plus or minus the square root of 3. The next step is minus 4 would move to that side. So x is going to be equal to 4 because negative 4 would become a positive and move to the other side. Now root of 3, yes, it's not a whole number because 3, the whole root of 3 is not a whole number. So usually we do not solve them. Rather we just leave it in the same form of root of 3. And then your answer is going to be x is equal to 4 plus root of 3 and x is going to be equal to 4 minus root of 3. That's all. These two are the solutions you have for x for this question. Let's try to do the next question now. First, move the 34 to the other side. So which means your question is going to be x squared plus 6x plus some number equals negative 34 because it's positive here. So when it goes to the other side, it becomes negative plus some number, right? Let's find what is this missing number here. So to find the missing number, what you do is 6. Now let's do that mentally. B divided by 2, which means 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is going to give you a 9. So the number there was plus 9 to both sides. Find the factors of 9, which would give you a 6. The factors of 9 are 1, 9, 3, 3, which means of course we will use 3, 3 because 3 plus 3 would give us a 6. So I can write this as x plus 3 equals negative 25, right? Then x plus 3 whole square equals negative 25. To remove the square sign, what we do is we say x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of negative 25. Now, always it's not possible for us to find the square root of a negative number. It's not possible at all. We cannot solve square roots with negative numbers. That's because there are no numbers which would give us a negative 25 when multiplied. For example, even if I would say negative 5 multiplied by negative 5, it is going to give me a positive number. So there are no numbers which would give us a positive negative number when we find the square root. So when you get such questions that's this root of a negative number, we finish it off by saying that there are no real solutions for such questions because we cannot solve the square root of negative numbers. So we say no real solutions. This is the case if you get a negative number inside the square root. But not always, only some special cases have this, special question cases have this, right? So whenever you get any number inside the square root, you say that there is no real solution. So now let's try to do this question here. X square minus 2x, yes, when you rewrite it, it's going to be x square minus 2x plus some number equals 35 plus some number, right? Negative 35 becomes positive 35 and move to the other side. Now, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to find the element of c here. So to find that, we have to do b divided by 2. So let's do that mentally. b is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 square is going to give you 1, which means you're going to add 1 to both sides of the equation. Now, if rewritten, this question is going to be negative 2x plus 1 equals 36, right? You're going to find the factors of 1, which would give you a negative 2. The factors of 1 are nothing but 1, 1. So 1, 1, to arrange 1, 1 to get a negative 2, how are you going to arrange? Both of them needs to be negative. So this is going to be x minus 1 equals 36, which also can be written as x minus 1 whole square equals 36. To remove the square root, you do x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus the root of 36. Now, we have to move the negative 1 to the other side. So it becomes x equals 1 because it's negative here. So when it moves to the other side, it becomes a positive 1. The root of 36 is a 6. So 1 plus or minus 6. How am I going to derive the two solutions here? X is equal to 1 plus 6. X is equal to 1 minus 6. So 1 plus 6 is going to give you a 7. And 1 minus 6 is going to give you a negative 5. So x is equal to 7 and x is equal to 5. They're not lengthy steps, but once you start doing, once your hand gets used to it and your mind coordinates with you, it becomes easy for you to do these questions. Okay, now this is another kind of question. Now yes, you can see the difference here from this question to this question. Now this is how you come step by step. You solve this question first, then they have added another question, another number here to be a bit more deeper, and now here it's another kind of question. Here you can see the coefficient of x is not there in all these questions, but here there is the coefficient of x. That's 2, 4, 2, there are numbers. So the first thing you're going to do is remove this 2 from here. How are you going to remove the 2 from here? There is no other way to remove a 2 rather than dividing each of these terms with the coefficient of x. So you're going to divide each of these terms with the coefficient of x. So if there was a 3 here, you will divide with 3. If there was a 5 here, you will divide with 5, all the 3 terms. Once you do that, you're going to get 2 divided by 2 is 1. But you know, algebraically we never write 1. So it's going to be x squared plus 8x plus 21 equals 0. Now that you have this question in this form, right, in the previous form which we did, now you're going to do the same thing which we did previously. So what I'm going to do first rewrite the equation. So when you rewrite the equation, it's going to be x squared plus 8x plus some number equals negative 21 plus some number. Because the positive 21 moves to the other side, it will become negative 21. Now, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 square is 16. So you add 16 to both sides. Which can now factors of 16 which would give you 4, 8 is 4, 4. So x minus x plus 4, x plus 4, which is equal to a negative 5. Right? Now, which this also can be written as x plus 4 whole square equals negative 5. X plus 4 is going to be equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 5. Now again, is it possible that we find a square root of a negative number? It's impossible. So in such cases, we say no real solutions. Wasn't that easy? Only a bit extra. We have to divide each of these terms with the coefficient of x. Let's try to do this question now. Here, what's the first step we are going to do? Of course, you have to get rid of this 4 here. So you're going to divide each term with a 4. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 is 1. That would eventually give you an x square minus. Now you cannot divide 7 by 4 without getting a decimal or a remainder. So when you get such numbers where you divide and get a decimal or a remainder, you simply leave the number as it is, because it's easier for us to solve fractions rather than decimals in these cases. Minus, now you can simplify this. You can divide divide each numerator and denominator with a 2. That would give you a half equals 0. Just follow what you did for the previous question. What did we do in the previous question? We had moved the c term to the other side. So let's move it. X squared minus 7 over 4x plus some number equals half plus some number. Right? Now again, to find this, yes, it will get a bit tricky here. Not tricky, it will get a bit, what do you say? It needs a bit of thinking, hard thinking, that's all. Now, this is negative 7 over 4 is the value of b. Now, let me do that slowly and show you what you need to do. The formula we were using to complete the square is b divided by 2 whole square, right? Now, here b is itself a fraction. So, b is negative 7 over 4 divided by 2 whole square. This is b, this is the value of b divided by 2 whole square. Hold on, it's not difficult. First what you do is divide this 2. How am I going to divide negative 7 over 4 divided by 2? You know that we use KCF, that's keep, change, flip, when we divide fractions. So keep this, change the sign, and flip the other fraction. What would you get if you would solve this? You're going to get a negative 7 over 8. Right? Now let me write that negative 7 over 8 square. Square will be there because we just solved only this part. Just like how we solved these 16 divided by 2. So it's like 16 over 2 whole square. We divide 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 square is 64. Right? That's what we do. But here, okay, so that means I did make a mistake here. It should be 64 here, but even if 64 goes to that side, finally we will end up in no real solutions. But let's hold this on and let's concentrate on this question. Okay, now here, what you're going to do is, where did I leave? Okay, so negative 7 over 4 divided by 2 is going to give you a negative 7 over 8. Now you're going to find out what's the square of negative 7 over 8. Negative 7 square is going to give you a 49, and 8 square is going to give you a 64, which would mean you're going to add 49 over 64 to both sides of the equation. So add 49 over 64, add 49 over 64 to both sides of the equation. So first, let's solve this part here. So let me solve that. That's half plus 49 over 64. How are you going to solve half plus 49 over 64? Half plus 49 over 64. You know very well that you cannot add fractions unless the denominators are the same. So to change this denominator into 64, you have to multiply the numerator with 32. Now, if you multiply the numerator with 32, you have to multiply the denominator. If you multiply the denominator with 32, you're going to multiply the numerator as well. So it's going to be 32 divided by 64 plus 49 over 64, which would give you 81 over 64. So simplified version of this is going to be x square minus 7 over 4x plus 49 over 64 equals 81 over 64. Right. Now what the next step you're going to do is you're going to find the factor of 49 over 64. Now whenever you have fractions and you're going to factorize these kinds of fractions, what you do is simply you remove the square root of this number. So the square root of 49 over 64 is going to be, how much is that? It's 7. The square root of 49 is 7 and the square root of 64 is 8. So you will rewrite this as x minus 7 over 8. Why did I write x minus 7 over 8? Because it is in this form. It's a minus here. If it was a plus, you will write plus. But this is minus, so x minus 7 over 8, x minus 7 over 8 equals 81 over 64. This also can be rewritten as x minus 7 over 8 whole square equals 81 over 64. Right? Now the next is to remove the square root from here. So x minus 7 over 8 equals plus or minus the square root of 81 over 64. What's the next step you need to do? Of course, you have to move the 7 over 8 to the other side. So x is going to be equal to 7 over 8 plus or minus, now solve this. What's the square root of 81? 81, the square root is 9 and the square root of 64 is 8. Right? Just find the square of these numbers. The square root of 81 is 9, square root of 64 is 8. Now, you just solve for the values of x. X equals 7 over 8 plus 9 over 8, or x is equal to 7 over 8 minus 9 over 8. So 7 plus 9 is going to give you a 16 over 8, which is a 2. And then x is equal to 7 minus 9 is a negative 2 over 8. Simplified is going to be 1 over 4. You divide the numerator and the denominator with a 2, so that would give you negative 1 over 4. So x is 2 or x is equal to 1 over 4, negative 1 over 4. Yes, it's a bit lengthy as all the questions are not going to be same, but the idea remains the same here. That's all you need to realize. Okay, now let's try out question number 12. So to first solve question number 12, the first thing first, you have to get rid of these, of the coefficient. So to get rid of the coefficient, you're going to divide each term with a 2, 2 and 2. So this would give you an x square. This again, you cannot divide 9 by 2, so you leave it the same, 9 over 2x. You are going to add some number, okay, not add the number first, let's simplify this. Simplified, it was going to be a 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 0. Now the next step is move the number to the other side. Move the 2 to the other side. That would mean x squared plus 9 over 2x plus some number equals negative 2 plus some number. Right? Now find the value of the number here. So you are going to do b divided by 2. So again, b is a fraction. You are going to divide that by 2. Just now, what did we do? We first solved this. So divide 9 over 2 by 2 first, divided by 2 over 1, which means keep it, change it, flip it. That is going to give you a 9 over 4. Now again, don't simplify this. Don't make it into a decimal or anything. In the same form, write it where it belongs to. So 9 over 4, you're going to add to both sides of the equation. Okay, now not 9 over 4 because we forgot to remove the square of 9 over 4. Okay, here it's going to be plus some number, right? It's going to be 9 over 2x plus some number equals some number. Okay, now 9 divided by 2 over 2 gave us 9 over 4. Now we are going to find the square of 9 over 4. So the square of 9 over 4 is going to be 81 over 16. 9 9s are 81, 4 4s are 16. So you are going to add 81 over 16 to both sides of the equation. So add 81 over 16 to this side and add 81 over 16 to this side. Done. Now the first step of solving this is done. Now let's find the, first let's solve this part. Better we simplify this. So what is negative 2 plus 81 over 16 going to be? You know very well that there should be a numerator here to solve this fraction, right? Or rather, there are many ways to solve it, but the way which I found easy is just convert this into an improper fraction. How do you do that? Now I need a denominator of 16, so I need to have both denominators as 16. When I do this as 16 denominator, what happens? This also needs to be multiplied with a 16. In fact, your fraction is like this. Let me show you that properly. It's negative 2 plus 81 over 61. So no number means that there is a 1 here, right? Now what happens? I need to change this to a denominator of 16. So to change this to a denominator of 16, I need to multiply the denominator with 16. When I multiply the denominator with 16, I need to multiply the numerator as well. So that becomes negative 32 over 16 plus 81 over 16, right? Now, how much is 81 minus 32? 81 minus 32 would give you a 49. So this is going to be 49 over 16. Hold on, keep it like that. So the answer is going to be 49 over 16, right? Let me write that here. 49 over 16 is equal to 81 over 16 plus 9 over 2x plus x squared. Now I'm going to factorize this. How am I going to factorize this? Simplify the square root of 81 over 16. So the square root of 81 over 16 is going to be 9 over 4. How am I going to write this? It's going to be x plus 9 over 4, x plus 9 over 4, which can also be written as x plus 9 over 4 whole square equals 49 over 16, right? Then the next step is going to be, now that's what we did here as well. We found the square root of 49 over 64, which gave us 7 over 8. Same thing we are doing here. 81 over 16, the square root of 81 over 16 is 9 over 4. Now to remove the square sign, we are going to give it to the other side of that number. So that's going to be plus or minus the square root of 49 over 16. Now the first thing, without confusing, let's solve this. The square root of 49 is 7 over 4. Square root of 49 is 7 and the square root of 16 is 4. Then x, move the 9 over 4 to the other side. 9 over 4 plus 7 over 4 or minus. So one solution for x is going to be x equals 9 over 4 plus 7 over 4. And another solution is going to be x is equal to 9 over 4 minus 7 over 4. Which would mean 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 over 4 would give you a 4. Right? And the other one is x is equal to 9 minus 7 is 2 over 4. Simplified would give you a half. So the two solutions of x are 4 and half. So this is how you solve it. Hopefully it's easy. As I would always say, it only comes with practice, with nothing else. So you have to be a bit careful when you're solving these questions, right? Now I did say something I missed out here. Let me just quickly go through and check what we missed out here. If it was an interactive session, yes, even you could tell me what went wrong here, but let me just find it out. First we have to remove the 2, okay, we did, and then we have to find this, so it's going to be b divided by 2. So b here is 8, no, it's right. Okay, I thought I did something here, right? No. Well, this is how you solve it. So again, as I would say, practice makes you perfect. Practice makes you perfect. There is no other way out for math. It's only practice. So till we meet again, keep practicing.